Welcome, Bayo Atoyebi, our reviewer. Bayo, good morning and welcome.
Thank you, Kirian. Good morning. Good morning, Kingsley.
Bayo, good to see you.
Thank you. Good morning, Nigeria.
Yeah.
All
Let's
right,
begin by taking a look at the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. Daily Trust newspaper, let's take one of the headlines there immediately below the nameplate. Says, Buhari to media, use your freedom responsibly. That's on page 29. The late story comes with a kicker, alleged threats. Police deploy horses and motorcycles for intelligence gathering in FCT. 4 riders say Abuja not under terrorist attack. Intercept 753 ammunition in Ebonyi. And LG chair, that's local government chair, still missing as gunmen kill Kogi commissioner. 345 ballot boxes and others set ablaze in Akwa Ibom. And the photograph on the front page there is the illustration of the burnt INEC office in Akwa Ibom State that took place over the weekend. Ex-leaders and clerics conniving with external forces against Nigeria. That's attributed to the Department of State Services. Details on page 6. Private residents to pay 100,000 naira for tree felling. That's according to the FCTA, that's Federal Capital Territory Administration. Central Bank of Nigeria and Honeywell differ on loan process from First Bank. Mixed reactions as 38 aspirants fail Kaduna APC exams. Details on page 27. Kirian.
All right. Now to the Punch newspaper, above the nameplate. Akwa Ibom office attack burning. Akwa Ibom office attack burning 345 ballot boxes, threaten 2023 polls, according to INEC. That's on page 12. Minimum wage. Ngige consults AGF, threatens to sue governors. The story is on page 11. And on page 21 is Brent price slides. Petrol landing cost hits 199.9 naira per liter. All right. The lead story on the Punch newspaper this morning. Federal government vaccine fund runs into crisis. AstraZeneca scarcity hits India. Stories on page 2, but there are two riders to that. Nigeria may go for Pfizer, which costs $20 per dose. AstraZeneca is $4 per dose. WHO may review usage of expired COVID-19 vaccine for Nigeria and other countries. Kogi board chair, 4 kidnappers killed. Local government boss missing. That's on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. NTA lifts Asman Air suspension after 6 weeks. It's on page 21. We have servicing our first bank loans. We've been servicing our first bank loans, according to Honeywell. NUJ kicks as Benue justifies arrest of journalists. The story is on page 11. We saved 45 northern youths from mob attack in Ondo State. That's it. Let's talk Bayo now.
Thank you, Kirian. Let's start with the journalism that you referred to there. President Muhammadu Buhari has enjoined journalists to be sensitive about Nigeria and enjoined the press and media professionals to wield freedom of the press most responsibly and without licentiousness. In his remark to mark the World Press Freedom Day, which is May 3rd, the president urged media practitioners to be sensitive in carrying out their duties. This is to avoid the impulses that could further worsen the situation in the country. The statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President of Media and Publicity says that in the role of informing, educating, and entertaining, and setting an agenda for public discourse, the media should not encourage incendiary words and action that could further hurt the unity and diversity of Nigeria. Also speaking to mark the same occasion, Senate President Aman Lawal assured that the 9th National Assembly will not work against press freedom. Rather, it will work with the media to enhance the profession. He called on various regulatory organs of the profession to purge journalism of its bad eggs. He says, the nefarious activities of a few of them is denting the credibility and reputation of the mainstream practitioners. Also, the Department of State Services, like Kingsley indicated there, has warned religious and political leaders to desist from collaborating with extreme forces intending to plunge Nigeria into crisis. The department identified such leaders as having either called for forceful change of government or mass action. Daily Trust reports that the statement by service spokesman Peter Afunaya refers to the comment by prominent Nigerians on ongoing insecurity, which the service believes is seriously divisive. The service warned it will no longer tolerate deliberate machinations by subversive and hostile groups whose agenda is to throw the country into anarchy. The DSS now says that it will not allow some individuals to break up the country through what it called unsavory statements. The service reminds that though democracy offers free speech, it does not give room to reckless pronouncement capable of undermining security. There has been an uneasy calm in some parts of the country. Daily Trust reports that uneasy calm is very prevalent in most cities in the southeast, where businessmen and other people are forced to close early to avoid being caught up in the crossfire. 10 policemen, according to the paper, have been killed in attack in recent times. Daily Trust reports that more than 50 attacks on security formations and killings of security operatives by allegedly suspected members of the Eastern Security Network, ESN. Businesses close early to avoid being caught in crossfire. 7 policemen are facing orderly room trial for deserting their duty posts in Imo State. Many policemen, it is reported, in Imo State Command are allegedly seeking to be redeployed out of the state. A senior police officer says they have turned down such demands because saying if they are allowed to go, who will stay back to help the command to restore peace in the area? The Commissioner of Police in Lagos State, Hakeem Odumosu, has also warned. He says society that cannot be bothered by attack on its police is breeding a culture of lawlessness. Now, if we go back just in most recent times, between October 8 and October 20th, when the NSAS crisis peaked, you realize that there has been an increased attack on policemen and police formations. In fact, immediately after the NSAS riots, the Inspector General of Police went around and gave a statistics and said 22 policemen were killed and 205 police stations were either attacked or burned down, and also policemen killed while on duty. Now, if you look back, you see that after the NSAS, this went up. Then, if you go back again, the advent of the appointment of new service chiefs came soon after the abduction in Kagara. Immediately after Kagara, there was an abduction in Zamfara, abduction in Kaduna, at the university, at the forestry college, and also recently in Plateau Jos. Banditry in Kaduna, Zamfara, Katsina has all been going on the increase.
And Niger as well. Niger.
Well. In Niger is even worse in the sense that it has now metamorphosed into the terrorists now taking over 40 communities and hoisting their flag. So what is the nexus between these two critical incidents?
Banditry, for me, is another form of terrorism. You cannot possibly divorce the two because they behave in like manner. Any man who is not authorized constitutionally to carry gun and who is interested in occupying ungoverned space should be regarded as a terrorist. And the operational methodology is the same. So that is it. But this increase you just mentioned now is what one cannot understand why so Kingsley. I mean, after the NSAS saga, there's an increase in the attack on police force, their infrastructure, as well as the service personnel.
Unfortunately, that we have seen that, and in some cases, it's not just been policemen. Prison officials have also been attacked, and military personnel have also been attacked and killed. We saw what happened in Benue, and then what also led the governor of Rivers State to impose restriction on movement into and out of rivers. So it's a question that we have tried to raise with some of our guests in our conversation segments on Good Morning Nigeria, but it's just part of the growing lawlessness. And the law enforcement officers, of course, have no other recourse but to bring all of this under control. And for citizens themselves to also recognize what the ultimate just might be. Namely, that if you decimate the ranks of your law enforcement officers, then you give room to all kinds of criminal elements, to flood the streets. Yeah. And especially as we do not have just yet the tally of the number of former inmates who broke loose once there had the jailbreaks in Benin and in Owerri and probably elsewhere.
Another dimension to this is this jailbreak.
Yes,
right. 1,088 are in Benin.
That's a new dimension.
So it's part of the thing. You're having hardened criminals, who are now being set free, and the Honorable Minister of Interior was given the marching orders the other day to say that, look, warders have a duty to defend themselves and to prevent a jailbreak. Well, that's just a re-emphasis for persons to know. Actually,
do they carry arms?
Well, they carry, but not necessarily
like
assault weapons.
Exactly.
Assault weapons.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the truth is that, according to the law, if you attempt a jailbreak and you seek to overwhelm prison warders, they have a right to quell that attempt. And of course, unfortunately, if it involves loss of lives, so be it. But if you see the way prisons are sited, at least from certain locations, they are usually also near other service formations.
Exactly.
So that you can actually call for reinforcement. In any eventuality, which was one of the concerns that got raised last year when you had a jailbreak, for instance, in Benin. Where you had a jailbreak first was on Saple Road. It's a trekking distance to the DSS office in Benin. It's also a trekking distance, which is just near the State Police Command. And then, of course, it's also a trekking distance to the Brigade Command. That's the 4th Brigade Command in the city. So, assuming, there was an immediate response, perhaps, I don't know what instructions the officers they had, but those who thought that it was fun to be breaking into prisons and setting hardened criminals loose on society, we're all saying the consequences, but we all have a responsibility, ultimately, in helping the law enforcement agents to make our environment safe and safer for all of us.
I think it is really, it's indeed high time, the law enforcement agency or agencies, rose up to the occasion, because it's becoming so difficult for us to also believe that in this country of ours, we have several jailbreaks, we have all sorts of criminalities going on daily basis. People are being killed on daily basis. Military personnel are being killed. Police personnel are being killed. It's unbecoming of a nation, and something drastic has to be done.
Yes, the Commissioner of Police gave the statistics. He said between January and March, 93 armed robbery cases have been reported in Lagos. 57 were foiled, but the others were successful. The critical danger here now is that what they describe as traffic robbers, 47 instances. So when you are driving in your car, you are not even safe on the highway. And then he has critically said that the security force, particularly the police, will now have to respond force with force. So we are now going to...
What Lagos needs, part of what Lagos needs, you need officers, armed officers, on bike patrols. Because those traffic robberies you talked about, they usually occur in traffic jams.
Yeah.
And these criminals are just darting in and out of the traffic and then making their way. Of course, if you are in your vehicle, you are stuck. But if you have officers who are on motorbikes at different locations, Third Mainland Bridge, the usual notorious locations, Maryland, Costade, Echo Bridge, and elsewhere, Mile 2, Mile 12. If you have officers on bike patrols with your revolving lamps and siren, then that could also serve as a deterrence. But it is when you want to use the pickup to chase, you will also be stuck in the traffic. Just before Abayo, there's a story I find very interesting here. and it's on the front page at the foot of the Daily Trust. It says, private residents to pay 100,000 naira for tree felling. That is to say, according to the story, the Federal Capital Territory Administration, that once you have planted a tree on your premises, and the tree has grown and it has matured, it now becomes a public property, as it were. And for you to fell it, you must seek the permission of the Department of Parks and Recreation. But if you didn't do that, then, of course, you will be subject to a fine of 100,000 naira, which is fine. I mean, I'm sure that anybody who loves trees would not quarrel with that. My concern, and therefore my charge, will be to the FCTA itself. How many trees have they planted in the Federal Capital Territory? In 10 years, in 5 years, in the last year. We used to have this ritual of tree planting campaign.
Yes,
you see officials, they go, expensively dressed, attempting to be planting one tree like that.
But where would they plant the trees?
Oh, hang on.
Most streets in the capital city here.
Let me finish, Kirian. After planting the tree like that, they will wash their hands, the TV will come, they will go and check. 2 weeks later, it's withered, it's gone.
Yes.
So you have, it's not about, you have setbacks on the roads where the government itself can plant trees. Before the expansion of the airport road, that's the Musa Yaradua airport
Thank you
road.
very much. Yes.
If you recall,
yes,
the original, if you were coming, you could see trees right from the airport.
Including the middle of the highway.
Precisely, right from the airport. Now they expanded
to 10 lanes.
To 10 lanes in 2009. That is 12 years later. I have not seen a single tree have they planted. That is the FCTA. And elsewhere around the cities, where are the trees that they plant?
In fact, during that time when they were removing the tree, there were anxieties and concern about it. And the Ministry of the Federal Capital Territory Administration indicated that they were going to do a replanting of those trees along that highway.
And where are the trees?
It has never been done.
No,
it is not just it is not just on those on the airport road, which is the middle. Go to all the expressways.
Yes, Kubwa.
Do you see any tree there? Where are the trees? You even on the inner roads. Where are the public trees? So that is part of the responsibility. I mean, if I plant a tree on my premises, of course I know the use, but you also plant and then you ensure that those trees are nurtured. Not that you do the tree planting, then you wash your hands. 3 weeks later, the seedling and that are germinated is gone.
Yeah, there is a new COVID-19 protocol, and it's very, very important because, yes, for now, if anybody is coming from India, Brazil, and talking into the country, they are prohibited from entry into the country. And the reasons are not far-fetched.
What of those who traveled to those countries before now?
The same thing.
Would they return to the country?
This is not far-fetched because the number of COVID-19 in those places are now
those of them who traveled to those countries before this policy, when they return to Nigeria, you stop them from coming home to Nigeria? Is that what that means?
There's a procedure which they have to follow.
Okay.
In fact, before you take off, there is a limit of 48 hours for which
anyway, but let's see how that
72
works.
Hours now.
Because I know that on daily basis there are Nigerians who travel to those countries who are due to return to Nigeria, and on daily basis they have to come back to those who are already due to return to Nigeria. Will return to Nigeria.
Yeah,
so whatever protocol they have.
If you are returning,
Nigeria,
then you must undergo quarantine.
Okay.
You must undergo quarantine for 7 days at your own expense.
Why not test the person out immediately?
Well, of course, you will be tested, but you will also undergo quarantine. You have to come with a certificate not more than 72 hours.
Let's
you ask the question. So you wait for people like to travel.
Let's thank Bayo Atoyebi for today's review.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We hope to see you again.